That scouting report was so good. Now I'm really
I'm open.
Well, thank you. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Have a good night. Let's try to get through.
Sounds good. Thank you.
One of the questions I want to ask you is, you know, we talk about all the time, like over the course of a career, you're always going to have a different coach's fingerprints and, you know, different DNA in you. So who would you say are some of the coaches, you know, through your journey that have been influential in kind of your style as a coach, as a mentor, as a tactician, all of those different phases of your coaching?
I mean, I'll be a lie if I just name like one or two people. I mean, childhood growing up, you know, you had Coach Reggie with the Lady Bulls over in the County Rec Center. I learned about like being a father from him to kids. David Monroe, who is also in Park and Rec. He's the head coach at Mater Dei. You know, Steve Billingsley, Mark McCowan, guys like that when I was a youth. Oh, man, Coach King. Can't forget Coach King. And then in the high school years, you know, of course, Charlie Polk, Jose Hall, Victor Player, or Rulridge. But I just took some from everybody, from those men that I named, and Dot Robinson. From those ones that I named, it was more of the fatherly aspect of it or the uncle aspect of it. Definitely stole some X's and O's from Charlie Polk before he retired. But X's and O's, new era, Coach Ali. Man, that dude was at Hoover. He was phenomenal. Marlon Wells, his relentless attack to the game, strategies, relentless defensive strategies. And he really taught me how to fill it up. Like, you know, we could play defense and score at the same time. You know, as he says, blessed are the bucket getters. So, and he proved that those bucket getters can also D up. Marlon doesn't talk a lot about defense, but he's actually one of the better defensive coaches around. And to be a bucket getter, I mean, you got to play some defense to get the ball in transition and get the ball up. So, yeah, Marlon Wells, man. Again, shout out to Marlon.
One of the things that we talked about in the one that we got caught off is something that I always admired. I'm kind of amazed by you as a coach is your ability to, you know, recall sets and plays on the fly.
Mm-hmm.
When did you realize that was a strength and kind of, you know, where does that come from?
You know, honestly, I mean, Coach Ali was really good at that, calling stuff on the fly. Honestly, I think it came from just my relentless approach on just watching game film. And then truthfully, it's just something that I don't know. It's just, I guess it's from God. I mean, in the sense of not being able to put my full finger on it because, you know, there has been games where literally I watch what the team is doing and just my brain is like a ping pong ball. It's just going back and forth real quick. And I'm like, yo, I think this is open. And I just draw it up in a huddle. And, you know, more than not, it's been success. And I don't mean success at making the bucket, but it's success at getting the shot we wanted to get, the look we wanted to get. You know what I'm saying? So just blessed. And again, I think maybe, again, just watching people over time and just being embedded in my brain, you know, watching certain people, Charlie Polk, you know, Ali. I mean, even, like I said, even Marlon. I mean, I don't think he gets enough flowers as the new term they're using now. You know, I'm not trying to sound like I'm his spokesperson, nothing like that, but I mean, you know, the brother's talented, and I definitely stole some things from him and learned some great things from him.
What would you say? How would you say? I mean, you've been doing this a while. How would you say your coaching?
Yeah,
I won't say necessarily your style, but have you had any philosophical changes in terms of kind of how you approached the game in the early years versus how you've been approaching it lately?
Yeah, definitely, man. In the early years, it was win. Business. You know what I'm saying? And times have changed. This generation has changed. So for me now, it's more of a bigger understanding, taking my time, more patience, understanding that if we do things right, positive things will happen. I mean, that's a simple way for me to put it without, you know, going into great detail. You know, early on, it was just, man, we're practicing for 3 hours. We're going for 3 hours. I'll see you on Saturday. You know, we had a game Friday. I'll see you Saturday morning. We got to do video and walkthrough and blah, blah, blah. Now it's more like, the approach is more like, how was your night? What did you do after the game? You know, how did you do? Not making it as business. You know, I just think that this generation, a lot of people are burning these kids out and And my philosophy is I really just don't want to burn them out no more. I want them to love walking into the gym, not like, oh, damn, I got to go in here again. You know, I want them to come in. I want them when they walk in that gym, even if it's a bad day on campus, I want them to smile. I feel I can get the best out of them that way. And with this new generation, and in all honesty, I think it's keeping me away from having gray hairs, this new approach.
How is things changed in terms of, I mean, I'm not trying to take it to a negative place, but in terms of like parent, you know, dealing with parents, like in terms of like it's been a time from when you started to now, you know, there's been a shift in kind of, I guess the term is helicopter parenting in terms of just the influence over it. So how have you seen that change, and kind of how do you navigate that?
You know, what I started to do over the years was, you know, I've always been honest and transparent. But with this group now, this new generation, again, of player and parent, you have to be extremely transparent, you know, have them live reality, and you got to have proof to your statements. You know what I'm saying? I know everybody wants their baby to get a full ride and go to college and be the next superstar, the next, you know, Brittany Griner, you know, Diana Taurasi type, you know, the next Destiny Littleton of San Diego. The reality is that's that less than 1%. You know what I'm saying? And most of our kids would just have great high school experiences with a couple playing JUCO ball for 2 years, or and then less than that playing at the 4-year level. So for myself, it's to be very transparent. I always show like old game films of my former teams, like my Dago squads that were loaded. I would just, you know, I'll have a kid, for instance, or a parent that feel their kid is the best point guard. I'm like, hey, man, why don't you do me a favor? Click on YouTube, watch this kid, watch Tia Dixon, and tell me what you think. And they'll come back like, man, oh, my God. Now, do you think your kid can – is like, no, she's nowhere near that level. Well, that is elite. That's what it's going to take. And it's not as easy. So you need to live in reality. You know, there's nothing wrong with the JUCO approach. There's nothing wrong with NAIA at all, you know, continuing to play. So just being extremely transparent and giving them proof to what I'm talking about. That's another thing, because as coaches, you know, some parents feel we just talk. We don't know what we're talking about. So, you know, you got to, for me, I found that showing them proof, talking with them constantly, keeping them in the loop, pure honesty is the best approach. And don't get me wrong, I've always been honest, but I've had in the past, parenting was a lot different. As recently as 2012, it was a lot different. Now it's more about me, not we. And, you know, we got to stress that we approach, because if we don't have me will look terrible. If that makes sense.
Oh, definitely. We've talked about, obviously, you know, some of the heights of the, you know, ultimate success achieved with the CIF championships. I wonder if you could, I know for me as a coach, and obviously I haven't been doing as long as you, but there's always those games or two of those moments that just kind of stick with you, and, you know, always, you know, you never want to worry about trying to go back in time, but are there any games or in-game moments that you kind of hang on to you or stick to you that, you know, maybe a play here or play there could have been different, or even just knowing that, you know, it wasn't in the cards for you to win that day, but it's still a game that kind of sticks with you?
One is OLP back from I want to say it was the 2011-12 season, I believe it was. No, 2010 season, I believe, the year we won the first ship. I can't remember the exact date, but they got us, I believe, 44-43 at home. And it was a day game. And, you know, that stuck with me. I was majoring. I was majoring on the minor. I was nitpicking. I was complaining. I wasn't coaching. So that game stuck with me. Another game that stuck with me over time, 2011-12 season, was the Country Day game. I mean, it was a great game to coach in. We were the only girls game at this event, all boys event at Point Loma Nazarene. You know, Kelsey Plum was on their team, the Hood Sisters. So, I mean, they were damn good ball club. And, you know, so many lead changes, and, you know, they got us by 6. So, yeah, I mean, you know, I feel I did coach well that game, but there's a couple of things here and there inbound that I should have stuck with, that we had in our bag of tricks that we didn't use, that kind of deal, that she didn't scout us for. More recently, oh, man, you know, those two are the main two, honestly. I mean, you know, Amir Mesa, you know, of course, you know, we can talk about the Rancho Bernardo game. We were in the game. You know, we were in the game, and We had their best player with all those fouls, and we didn't take advantage of it. We had her on the bench the whole first half. She picked up her third, I want to say early second, and we didn't capitalize. And, that stuck with me. I felt that, that team was better. But in that moment, that second quarter moment when we could have literally, had them hanging by a thread, I didn't get that done as a coach. I didn't get that done and get my team in the right spot.
Well, obviously I was there. And
yeah,
that game for me, as an assistant coach, but it's the same scenario to the Rancho Bernardo game you're talking about, is because like that game, to me, the ones that are hardest is for me. We lost when I was at Horizon. We lost in the semifinals to East Lake. I probably told the story. We were up big and they came back. And what was stressful or frustrating about it aftermath, and again, it was like the Rancho Bernardo game you talk about, is we knew that if we won that game, we were going to win the ship. Like the two teams playing in that game were the best two teams, other than the teams on there. No disrespect to. Yeah, I think that year at Horizon, East Lake ended up beating La Costa, and the year you're talking about, Rancho Bernardo ended up beating Scripps. And so no disrespect to those teams, but there's no doubt in my mind if we win that semifinal game, we're CIF champions.
Right. Yeah, I mean, exactly. I mean, I did, again, yeah, you hit the nail on the head right there. I mean, it's just, those games are tough. I mean, the thing is, though, how do you recover? And, the recovery part is don't dwell on it. Remember it, though, but don't dwell on it. Watch it one or two times, take your notes you need to take, and then leave it where it lays. Just be ready for the next one. That's kind of the approach I take to these kind of games now.
So officiating has been a hot topic, I think, especially this year. And, again, this is just my second year as a head coach. But I would say I noticed a bit of a difference this year. And I think the one thing that I can specifically point to that was probably a difference is obviously there's a shortage this year. And then just the COVID. And I think just as a whole, this year was crazy. So I don't want to put too much emphasis on kind of what I saw this year. But as you know, officiating is a hot topic. And this is not about bashing officiating, but I do want your perspective in kind of just your perspective on officiating as a whole. Again, I know that Facebook groups and it gets ugly, and a lot of times coaches, especially in the heat of the moment, coaches are probably overly critical, and also I think some officiates can be a little bit overly sensitive, to be honest.
Definitely.
But where do you think as a whole we are, kind of with the officiating? I had talked about having a couple of officials on, kind of give their perspective, but while I got you, let's talk about kind of your overall perspective on our officiating situation here in the county.
Well, a couple things. One, you're correct. It's a very tough job. But again, you read the job qualifications and you read the requirements. With that being said, you know what you're walking into. Same with us as coaches. Things that bother me a little bit about officiating is consistently inconsistent. Interpretation of the rule compared by the law, by the written law, the letter of the law of the tongue-tied. By the written letter of the law that is the rule, and then the interpretation official A might have on their own what that rule should be. That's kind of tough, especially on the girl side with the constant, hand checking and stuff like that. That's kind of tough. But, again, with the officials, what you signed up for. So when they say, hey, get off my back, hey, this parent this, hey, this parent that, I hear you, but you have the power of the whistle. You know what I'm saying? Blow it, check it, get admin involved. Let's keep it moving. Don't take it personal. Coach, we can only do so much. Yeah, there's no need. Don't banter with the fans. I think a way, though, that we can improve our officiating is one thing that I don't care for, and it's just like us in the real world with our jobs, right? You're the San Diego Hoops Report, okay? And it's like myself trying to come in with you and make the same amount of money as the CEO is making. That's not possible. I'm coming in as an entry-level reporter, and I need to start at entry-level pay. So, again, I'm not sure how it works up and down the state. I need to do some more research, but I do know that all officials, regardless of experience, make the same money once you're at the varsity level. And I think that hurts us because I've heard different people mention that they just like the money. It's good money, blah, blah, blah. And I respect that. But imagine how much better of a product we can have if you have somebody like a Richard Trisby who's been doing it forever, right? Mentoring a young buck that's hungry, that wants to climb the ladder of payroll. You know what I'm saying? You know, you'll get tired of making X amount of dollars, but if you bust your butt, you know, now you start moving up in tiers, you start making more revenue, and you're more passionate about the game. Over the years, I feel that what I've seen, and I could be wrong, this is my personal opinion, I've seen more people doing it, again, just to make a quick buck, rather than the passion behind it. I think to be an official, you have to be extremely passionate. You have to love the game. You have to love children at this level. And you got to have, you can't just be stuck in just being a San Diego official. I think, you should be working towards getting JUCO games, high profile D1 open games, that kind of deal. But again, I hope this doesn't hurt me with refs. I've always been transparent with them and told them how I felt. Again, we have some great ones. Do not get me wrong. We really, really do. We have some with great ears. But again, I think that we need to have better training tools to help these officials. These games in the off season that are being ran by non-official associations that are picking up games, there's no accountability to hold officials accountable to keep a standard, if that kind of makes sense. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not working for your regular boss, you're working for your side job, but you're still getting the same $35 a game or $30 a game, cash money at that. And, you're not worried about who's judging you. I think that if, as a county, if we do a better job involving our SDCBOA in our off-season tournaments, allow them to run it, because now you still got your same boss year round. You still got your same president, vice president, your same board that's holding you accountable. So it falls on us coaches too. When we throw tournaments, we know that we got to try to save money because we're raising money for our kids. So if we can save it here and there, I get it. But I believe our association for San Diego County, that is, I would love to see them help out our off-season tournaments more and offer a reasonable rate to where their officials are reffing our games. We're seeing them constantly. We are seeing them constantly, but we're not seeing them constantly in the same for the same company, if that makes sense. So if we're seeing them constantly with the same company, like, we're always the same company as coaches, even though you're Marauder basketball in offseason, you're still Mira Mesa. At the end of the day, if your principal says, "Hey man, I heard something happen on Saturday," you're getting you got to address that. So I would love for that to be the same way with our officials association, bridging that gap, the same accountability year round, and working, again, us coaches throwing our tournaments, but involving the SGCBOA. I think it'll create a better product all the way around. It'll be a lot better product, and everything will be a lot better. But that's just my personal opinion. I don't know if that ever will happen.
So I do want to give credit. I know we were at a viewing event in Sacramento with my club team, and the event was doing, as you've been in events where they had a ref. The refs were being evaluated, and I saw a couple of our San Diego refs there, and I was excited, happy to see it. The passion and the dedication to the craft, like you're saying, of not just wanting to get those game checks, but to actually strive to take it to the next level, whether it be junior college, or even the professional level. So definitely want to shout those coaches out. What would you say, without kind of like, because we kind of talked about this during the year, your approach, like for me, and we talked about it, for me, one of the things I'm working on this offseason is how to talk to refs. And the reason why I say that is my personality. I'm the kind of guy that likes to give the refs the benefit of the doubt. So again, being a new head coach, we have the pregame talk with the officials, and they always say, if you have a question, ask me. And, if you want to address me. And my problem is I take that literally, right? So the game starts, they miss a call. I say, hey, can I ask you a question? And it's standoffish, right? So it's like, I'm letting, and you've seen it, right? My approach is I'm trying to let you, and I hope actually officials see this, because this is something I would like to talk to officials. My approach is, first quarter, I'm trying to let you work through what I perceive to be mistakes. So I'm not going to be on you every call. And again, this is an approach that I'm probably going to change, because it didn't work for me much. But I'm not trying to get on you from tip off on every call that I perceive you make, right? So what happened
Yeah.
to me twice this year is by the third quarter, I'm so fed up of stuff that I've let go for 3 quarters. Now I'm on edge. Now I got a quick fuse. And then they're looking at me like I'm the one that's losing control. But from my perspective, you've already been not good for 3 quarters. And now because I've let it get to this point, you know what I mean? Now I've let it get to this point. Now I look out of control. And then on the flip side, I'll see coaches from the tip, first possession, they are on the refs. And I'm thinking, I don't want to have to be that, but it seems like that's getting them more success. So kind of, and again, I don't want you to give away your trade secrets that have allowed you to have some success, but you understand what I'm getting at. Kind of what's your approach with that?
Well, let me ask you this. Let me ask you a question. We coached against each other this year. Second game, what do you think? How did you feel that in our second game? How do you feel my approach was to start the game with the refs?
So I thought you were. You weren't. I wouldn't say you were like overly aggressive, but you were definitely making your points, and you were in their ear. You were in their ear early, and I definitely think it was effective. And again, even to that perspective, I do kind of take that approach, and I also know that there's a level of greenness with me that I don't have, that more experienced coach would have with you. But again, on that, I would hope that officials wouldn't kind of let that stuff influence them. But we all know they're human.
Yeah. Right. So what I try to do now is the funny thing is I used to always check Arbiter when we first hopped on that to see who my officials were. The last 2 seasons, I really don't do that anymore. It's just I'm gonna see who walks in the gym. I'm like, okay. So I get a lot of coaches that get mad at me and they say, things out loud like, hey, you giving him your ear all day long. How come I can't get it? You know what I'm saying? I get that a lot at games. And it's because I think I'm having, anytime I got a chance to say something concerning, something positive, a joke, anytime there's a free throw and I got one in front of me, I'm trying to say something. I might say something like, hey, man, you're working a little too hard right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'll slow the tempo down for you just to crack a joke. But the biggest thing is I see how the flow of the game is going. And in all honesty, I've been doing this so long now, I know a lot of the refs, the way they blow their whistle. So I'll tell my girls, hey, this is going to be a physical game. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, put your helmet on, tighten that chin strap up, and it's going to be physical. Or I might see that one ref that, you can't, that definitely enforces the hand check rule. Hey, don't touch nobody. Trust me on this. And then, I'm also, not only am I doing this game with the ref, I'm also doing it with the opposing coach. You know what I'm saying? And once I notice, like, they're on their person's nerves, I relax. I'm like, hey, I'm going to let them get all that negative attention, and eventually it's going to help us in the long run. And a lot of games it does. So, again, I just, once they walk in, I see who it is. Just like in the NBA, you watch certain NBA games and players talk about it. They be like, oh, man, such and such be letting this go too much. It's the same thing. So, I'll watch. I'll see what they've got going. I'll see if it's a physical ref that walks in, if it's a non-physical. Is it an approachable referee? Because, again, some of them don't want to talk, and that's human nature. I mean, some of us at work don't want to talk to our coworkers. So, and then some, don't like being talked to loud. Instead of saying, hey, I'll give you an example. So it might be something like, she's camping, 3 seconds in the key, ref, 3, right? When that ref comes over, that ref might not like that. But when that ref's coming over to my sideline, whether reporting a foul or a free throw, and I'll wait sometimes until it's the free throw moment and they rotate and he or she comes up and I might be like, come on, big dog, you too good of an official for this. They in there camping. Well, who is it, coach? Hey, man, it's 42. She's in there. She has her lunch, got the grill going. I'll crack a joke like that. They're like, all right. And it'd be funny, a couple trips down the court, whistle blows, 3 in the lane, this way. You know what I'm saying? So, again, but then you got those other officials that they kind of like attention where you just yell it out, So, again, it's like having refs now is just like scouting your opponent. You got to have a little cheat notebook on everybody. Remember your notes. Did this ref team me? Why did he or she team me? Okay. You scouted a game. Did they tee a coach? Why did they tee a coach? You know what I'm saying? So I look at all that little stuff. And I got that from Ollie over the years, Ollie Golston from Hoover, watching him. So, again, with the officials, I just I try to take a great mental note of who is who. I also try to remember their name Because a lot of times coaches don't give a damn about an official's name. We're like, Mr. Official, Miss Official. I try to remember their name all the time. If I don't know them like that, I'll call them over. And again, I just tell them, hey, man, I ask for simple things. One, I ask you hustle. And two, I ask you acknowledge me. And acknowledge me don't got to be you making eye contact. So I might say something like, hey, if you hear me, just nod your head. If you hear what I'm saying. And their back could be to me, you'll see them do this, like, okay, cool. And then I'll be like, thank you. And, I've had referees come to me and say, hey, man, I never had a coach ask me to do it that way. I thank you for that, man. I thank you for that. So, again, just adapting what we have kind of deal. So, yeah.
So, it's fine. I'm going to stay on this real quick because, I don't.
Yeah, go ahead.
We talked about a little bit in that game. So, the thing about that game that was annoying is I was calm with the officials when we was getting our butt kicks because I didn't think they was playing any role in us getting beat.
Yeah.
My frustration came from is I felt like the game was being called a certain way, and I didn't get on the officials for how the game was being called. I got on my kids for adjusting. So my issue with that game is I felt like we did adjust, but then it changed. You know what I mean? So it's like the game is physical, and I called my team out. I said, hey, we're not being as tough as they are, and that's why we're getting our butts kicked. And they adjusted. We get back in the game, and then now I feel like, well, now you're calling it tight. And like you said, and my biggest thing is I always say you could be bad. I promise I'm okay with bad. I just need you to be consistently bad if you're going to be bad. Because I need to know. I had it this weekend. Because AAU, you'll go from court to court, different officials. So we had a game yesterday where they were calling it extremely tight. I mean, extremely tight, almost bonus within the first quarter. So I tell my kids, stop fouling. They're letting them, they're calling it tight. So get to the basket. You might get some free throws. We go to the next court. They're letting us bang. So then what do I tell my kids? Okay, it's not about the refs. It's a new set of refs. Now, don't look for a foul when you attack the paint. Be a little bit more physical when you're playing defense. So again, to your point, bad or good is not the issue. It's just the consistency, kind of like what you were saying.
I mean, what I noticed over the years, though, is some of these less experienced, I'm not going to say non-experienced, I'm sorry, less experienced officials that are not the OG veterans have been around San Diego for 10 plus seasons, better yet. Let's just say that. The refs have been doing it over 10 years. They're nonchalant about certain things. Some of our younger refs are not real nonchalant about it. Like, it kills me when they come to the table, and I'm an ear hustler. I mean, that's just in what I do for a living. I have to have a great ear. I have to hear it, the drama that's about to hit. I got to be one step ahead of it. So I might be here talking to my squad, and I'll hear something in my huddle, and I'll just, I'll ear hustle it. And you've been with me. Is they'll give it away and be like, they'll ask the table, are the team fouls right? That's irrelevant. And then a lot of times, I mean, again, like we can be as Lonnie's team against Hassan's team, we could be murdering you guys and you're shooting free throws all day long because we can't play defense. We're lazy. We're slapping. We're not getting in position. And what I don't care for is your girls are playing smart D, hands up, moving your feet. If they can't challenge the shot to get out the way, what I'm saying, let it go, live for another play. And then what they'll do is you look up at the end of the game, and at first it was 8-1, and you look up, now it's 9-8. It's like, that's irrelevant to me. I can't stand that. And I've noticed that more with our less experienced officials. Or our less experienced officials will ask, how many fouls are number such and such. That's not your concern. That's none of your concern. And if I'm wrong, I'll love for any official to inbox me or hit me up if I'm wrong on that. But I feel that that's not an appropriate question to ask the table. But that, flipping the team fouls over, and it happens all the time. You be like, here it comes. And they'll flip it.
I think your point is right, because I know, you know kind of my philosophy, which again, I get from Marlins. I don't want my kids fouling. And
right. I didn't this year. I had 7.
Yeah, so you want them to play physically. You want them to play good, strong defense without fouling.
Yes.
So if that's my philosophy, and then the other coach's philosophy is just all-out aggressiveness, then why would I be concerned about the foul count if we're literally playing two different styles of basketball? So to your point, like the fouls don't need to catch up. You know what I mean? Like, let's say if we're up big in the second half, we definitely not going to be fouling. You might be fouling. I'm not fouling. So like I said, the foul count doesn't have to be fair if you're actually paying attention to the flow of the game and how the game is being played.
Man, big time. I mean, we got a team in league right now that I've been going against for years, and their style of play defensively is fast, chaotic, physical, but sometimes the there's no adjustment made. You get what I'm saying? And the yelling's all on the official. It's the official's fault. No. I mean, I'm sorry, but if you're playing defense with your hands and you're mad at me as a coach because I'm making it noticeable to the ref, like, hey, and again, they hit us with the right term of, you got to phrase it as a question. You know what I'm saying? Like, they love living by that one. So, I'll phrase it as a question. They'll look at it. Okay, cool. And then the other coach is mad at me, or their coaching staff is mad at me because I made the correct adjustment. I, pointed out something to the official, and they want to know why we're shooting so many free throws and they're not. Or, for instance, I love playing in your face trap defense. You know that. I love manning up, 23 jump, the whole nine, trapping corners, hella aggressive, getting teams uncomfortable. And, I couldn't do that. This year we couldn't play like that. You seen it, Haas, when I had to pick and choose when to pressure you guys. When you got 7 bodies and only one that has a full season of varsity experience, now you got to get to coaching and you got to adjust. So take the game out of the officials' hands was kind of, my approach the last few years. Try to take it out of their hands and major adjust and know who I'm playing. And, again, scouting your opponent, scouting your official, and making your adjustments to put your kids in a position to be successful.
So let me ask you about kind of the kids you got coming back. Again, you guys, league was kind of tough. And again, this season, I don't know how much stock you can put in anything we just had this past season with the chaos of the not knowing we're going to play, short season, COVID protocols, all of that. But looking ahead to next year, what kind of, what do you think? What are your expectations for your group, and like who are some players that you're really excited about?
Of course, we're returning Isabella Everett, aka Lala. She finished the year the #1 scoring junior in San Diego. One of the best shoot around makers. Can just play. Really love her future. Yasmin Shropshire. She was a blessing to us. Came to us. Really, nobody knew who she was in the county, and they all end up knowing who she was. At the end of the day, she's a rebounding machine.
Yes, she is.
Tough, quick second jump. Yeah, quick second jump. So I'm excited about her. She's, blank slate offensively, willing to learn. Our backcourt, can't forget Demi Fowler and Kiki Wilkerson. They did their roles. I'm just, their development in this offseason, I think it's going to cause a lot of fits with teams next year. We lost one due to moving and transferring. She's going to do great at her new school. She was a major part of what we did this year. So I want to wish, her nothing but success. That's Alyssa St. Julian. Wish her nothing but success. A pleasure to coach. Excited for her future at her new school. And then again, there's a kid that nobody knows about that I believe can have an extremely bright future. That's Lonnie Gumaban England, and another young lady named Samaj. That's a 6-footer. That nobody's seen this year. So I'm excited for them. And then our 2 freshmen turning sophomores, first year playing basketball, Fatima Santos and Kiana Smith. So, I mean, that's honestly my whole team right there. And, with COVID being over and schools reopening, I truly believe we're going to have some blessings on campus. I know there's going to be some freshmen that want to play, and I've already got some interest for some other kids that were on campus that are juniors and seniors that want to get down with us. So, I think we'll make a run at D2. I think we'll be an interesting team in D2 that teams don't want to play because you never know what team you're going to get with us. And I think we're hard to scout. It looks easy to scout us, but I think it's harder to scout us than what people make it seem because once the ball's in the air, we change up a lot of stuff. We play it differently. It's just, again, we're a hard team to scout, but I'm excited about our future. I'm excited about our whole, San Diego City conference, honestly. I'm excited about your squad, Haas. I mean, year 3 now, bro. I'm excited about your team, and league play is going to be fun, man. What you think?
Great to have an off season. Haven't had one of those since we got the job. And it's funny because we was on the track the other day, and there was gas, and I said, well, this is the first time we've done this in 3 years, so it makes sense. And even with the long break, you still can't. The body, no matter how much rest the body may have had because they were down, that short compacted season, I know wore a lot of kids down. So I'm good to actually, I'm excited to get back into, like you said, having a normal off season. I know that the league didn't graduate a lot. I know, OLP lost obviously some good pieces. Not sure if they're gonna be back, but I know Madison is going to be good. Morris didn't lose much. You guys, bring back a lot. We lost some leadership at the top, but we do have some freshmen coming in. So I think the league is
we lost OLP.
Okay, I wasn't sure.
OLP's moving up.
Okay, yeah. So
we got
Coronado, right?
Coronado.
Yeah, so they're coming in as
Yeah.
league champion too. Obviously they're going to be playing with a chip on their shoulder. So no, I'm excited. I know it's going to be one of the more competitive leagues. This is what I like about our league. It reminds me of you see it not even as much in the Western because it's so top heavy. But I don't think there's a more competitive league than ours right now in terms of like last year. I think OLP lost the one game and then everybody else pretty much split. You know what I mean? So I think I think that's, if you look at the landscape of different leagues, it's usually very top heavy and then 2 or 3 at the bottom that are even fighting to win games. So I'm excited about the Eastern League.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what our guy Milt got going on. Milton always gets pieces. I gotta
walk in his
I'm
gym.
nervous about the madhouse. Yeah, the madhouse is something else, man. So, hey, man, appreciate everything.
Like I told you before, I'm super appreciative for, I wouldn't be in this coaching position if I hadn't, come in contact with you. You gave me an opportunity to coach with you at Mira Mesa. I know for a fact I wouldn't have the head coaching job now if it wasn't for my interview was, Lonnie said he vouched for you, so you got the job. So forever grateful. I know I catch a lot of flack probably for being a little overly loyal, but that's because when I came here, a lot of people put their arm around me and took me in. So I'm always gonna be loyal to those that took me in when I first got here. You were definitely one of those people. I've learned a lot from you. I know I mentioned to you last time. Every time we play, some of the kids would be like, "Oh, that looks like such and such," and I was like, "Where do you think I got it from?" So, I steal a lot from you. This game is about stealing, as you know. Any time you coach, you're going to have the DNA of the coaches that you coached for. On your program, you're definitely one of the many people that influenced my coaching. And like I said in the intro. Your resume is second to none in terms of things you've accomplished in the game here. So
well, real quick for me, man, as a lifelong San Diegan, I got to say thank you to you because you stepped out of your comfort zone in a brand new city, and then stepped back into your comfort zone, which is your love for basketball. You created the San Diego Hoops Report with Marlon. But I've always told you, you're the Hoops Report. You're very humble. You're like, no, it's Marlon. Nah, man, you're the Hoops Report. This is you. This is your face. This is your baby. And your baby has turned into a blossoming person. Outstanding. Just thank you for doing that for our city, for our kids, especially for our girls, because, again, the young ladies have always been underappreciated. And, someone like yourself that's taking your time free of charge, folks. Let me say that. I know you don't make no money. I know you don't charge. You know what I'm saying? And that's another thing that gets me is for those coaches that don't want to do this interview with you. And, I'm guilty because you asked me to interview with you, but I wanted to do the video version and not the question version because people will take words and misconstrue them. But when they see you live,
you ain't got to tell me.
So when they see your facial expressions and what you're doing, they can take what the word is really about. Absolutely. But for those coaches that keep not taking these phone calls, you're doing nothing but, or these Zoom calls, you're doing nothing but hurting our kids and our community. So I pray that these coaches all step up to the challenge and accept the flowers you're giving them. And then if you don't mind, man, in closing, I just like to leave our whole county with something. One thing that I live by, 2 things I live by. One of them is a famous quote by Tony Dungy's college coach or high school coach. college coach, and it's in his book of Uncommon. Life is uncommon, therefore not to be shared. Oh man, there you go. Let me say that again. So success is uncommon, therefore not to be shared by the common man. I'm in search of uncommon people. So, like Hassan said, he named some great coaches. Those coaches are uncommon. They're winners on and off the court. Surround yourself with people that have like dreams like you and have achieved them, and be humble about the process. And then the second thing I live by is you must find a distraction from your destruction. So kids, if you out here on that PlayStation all day playing Fortnite and you consider yourself that good of a kid, put that down. Put that down. You need another distraction, because that's actually your destruction. Your other distraction should be, hey, man, let me get 200 more shots up, or let me knock out some sit-ups. Let me go on this jog right now. All right, because you're not going to get where you want to get, you know what I'm saying, on
just by talking
Fortnite.
about it.
So that's it. So again, find a distraction from your destruction. For me, it was coaching. I'm still in the heart of Southeast San Diego. That was my destruction because of my life and how I grew up and my temper. But coaching keeps me it always kept me in the Southeast, and it kept me out of the way because I didn't have time to be at the functions. I didn't have the time to be with the homies. Find a distraction from the destruction. So
all right, man. Again, I
Hassan.
appreciate
Thank
your
you
time.
so much,
I will
man, again.
see you in the gym soon.
Hey.
And thanks for your time.
Hey, best 4.5 hours we ever did.
Exactly. And that don't even count the time all the stuff that was on with the cutting room floor, the unedited stuff that they'll never see.
Oh my God. Yeah, appreciate it, man.
I'll talk to you soon.
God bless you and your family, man. Thanks.
Same to you. Bye-bye.
All right. Peace.